This video entirely exists because QT Cinderella said she was anxiously awaiting my review.
That's it. That's my intro.
Hi, I'm Amanda. You're watching Swell Entertainment, and today we are talking about the Streamer Awards 2024. I had zero desire to make this video. My entire plan, because I'm now streaming on Twitch, hi, that's where you're watching this from, I am now a Twitch partner, was to do just an on-stream review of the Streamer Awards, because I've previously done a video on the Streamer Awards, and I just don't like doing repeat videos, okay? But you guys always ask for repeat videos, and then QT replied to my tweet that I posted where I was like, oh, does anyone want to get Denny's after the Streamer Awards? Because I think I looked hot. I looked so good. And QT replied and said, anxiously awaiting your review. And I'm a people pleaser. Thank you for following or whatever just happened. I have alerts turned off on screen for the recording, but chat is here. And if they behave, they get to stay on screen. Don't worry, it's not an ad. Not really. Basically, I am here to announce that we have a new official channel sponsor for Swell Entertainment. And also I'm a Twitch partner now, so that's another thing. Now, I don't know if you guys know this, but I am a very serious pro gamer. Or at the very least, Gamer Subs think so, because they gave me a code to help you get all of your Gamer Subs needs. Code SWELL. Tubs, both energy and caffeine free. Maybe you don't know what you want. They have a bunch of sample sizes. Gamer Subs instant noodles for gamers and sus snack bars. All of this you can get for 10% off when you use code SWELL at checkout. This is kind of like a two birds, one stone type of thing because I figured it would be a good idea to, one, advertise the Twitch, because a lot of you here on YouTube don't know that I stream on Twitch. So if you want to see even more of me, go to Swell Entertainment over on Twitch. I wasn't even sure I was going to make it to the Streamer Awards because I got a billboard in Times Square for one night. And so me and my dad went to New York to go and get photos and videos with it, obviously, because that's the fun part of having a billboard for YouTube. Hermes is here to help with this award. He's very mad that he had to stay at boarding one more night while I went to the Streamer Awards. Hi. Basically, I wasn't sure if I was going to make it to the Streamer Awards because of New York and all that, and I wanted to stay an extra day to sightsee because I never have time to sightsee when I'm in New York, okay? First world problems. We were very lucky that there was no snow the entire time we were there. But then as we were driving away, driving to the airport, okay, it was snowing. And I was like, okay, this is good. We're like at the airport. It's going to be fine. Anyways, cue a 2.5 hour delay of our flight. So I did not sleep at all on the flight, which normally I have no problem sleeping on return flights because I was very stressed out. I was not gonna have enough time to pull myself together for the Streamer Awards. I ended up making it, obviously, because we're here, but that was a stressful thing, which led to no sleep, which led to me leaving the Streamer Awards early. I stayed for most of it, okay? But there's a few things that I don't know about the Streamer Awards that you guys are gonna have to deal with. So my tickets were a little more expensive this year than last year, but I also waited a long time to get my tickets, which is why they cost what they did. My friends Chris and Anarchy also came with me because they also look for any opportunity to dress up and look nice, and Anarchy also just hit affiliate on Twitch. For the three of us, it was $360 for our tickets. I believe last year I paid about $50 for my ticket, but I got my ticket super early because I obviously knew I was gonna review the Streamer Awards. Our tickets were in the balcony area upstairs, which is Loge and Mezzanine. And that is where all of the paid tickets go and also where a lot of the industry people ended up going as well because I knew a couple of them and I was like, oh, you guys are all up here with us. Cool. Something that I also think is something that I don't know how they would fix this moving forward is I knew that we did not allow bags inside. Last year was the same way. Bags are not allowed inside if you are a paid guest, okay? So any of us with tickets. Now, I knew that as well for last year, but I also am someone who reviews events for a living, so I always know to check what am I allowed to bring, what am I not allowed to bring, so I know to check for notes or like anything down on the ticket section. I think there needs to be a bigger deal made about what is and isn't allowed for the ticketed guests once you get it. There should be a follow-up email that is automatically triggered. I think that's something that you can set up via Live Nation, like, oh, a follow-up email or something like that. I think that needs to be a bigger priority because it was something that once I bought my ticket, in the very bottom is where the note was. So I know to check that, but most people did not. And so there is, in fact, a bag check that they end up having, but they prefer you to not have a bag check, and that does end up holding up the line. I just think that an easy way to fix that is to make a bigger deal about how bags are not allowed. Just making that a bigger deal once you buy the ticket. The pre-show. I'm not sure exactly what time the pre-show started. I know that QT tweeted it out there. I know that for us, doors were opening at 4. Show started at, I believe, 5:30, 5:40, 5:45. Pre-show at 12, red carpet at 3. So the pre-show was at 12. Okay. Yeah, I think that needed to allow guests to be at. Okay. So as you guys know, I have been to quite a few award shows now. I've been to the AVN Awards. I have been to the Tony Awards. I have been to the Streamer Awards. I have been to the Stream Me Awards. I have been to the Waddies. What's the other one? I went to the Game Awards. Every award show that I've been to, if there is a pre-award show segment, and typically these are awards that are not necessarily televised awards, but they still want to honor these people because they've had them come out, or it's just to kind of cut down on the runtime of the actual show. Usually, if as a paid guest, you are still there for that pre-show. And so I think that that's something that should be included in the ticketed section, is including the ticketed section into access for the pre-show. That's just my opinion. I'm trying not to watch chat, but also chat is helping me. If anything, I think the pre-show should have more awards included, because my overall note for this was too long. This is an ongoing thing with all social media events. We don't know when to cap things, okay? None of us do. Look at the length of my videos. You think I know how to cut things short? Of course not. My editor will attest that I don't know how to cap filming short either. There's a reason that they introduced the pitch clock into baseball games, okay? There's a reason that sports games have a limit. It's because people get bored. People leave. I get it. You guys are excited to be outside. This is a very solitary industry. Streaming, content creation in general, all of it. Okay, I understand you're excited to be outside. You want to spend more time outside. You want to spend more time with your friends. But like, it's just too long. It's just so long. Like, we got to tamp these down. So if you make the pre-show include more awards, then it's a little more fun thing, because it's like, oh yeah, I'm involved in the pre-show. If you bring the ticketed guests in, pre-show, more people are excited because of the pre-show. And then there are people who will probably leave for the actual show, or they won't even come for the pre-show and they'll come for the after show. I think we got to narrow down some of these award categories or move them around a little bit, because you still want to honor people in all these categories, but moving those awards around still honors them, but also cuts down time a little bit of the actual broadcast, or even not the broadcast, but the amount of time people's butts are in seats, okay? So to get things started, we had a little segment about how important the award show is. Then the award show starts and we have a musical guest come on. A lot of musical guests. Not sure how I felt about all of them. Okay, the first one I was like, oh, we're gonna listen to this guy rap. And then he was actually very talented, so I will give it the credit where credit's due. He was freestyling and he did fairly well. Another musical guest was Leviathan. Leviathan performed his musical number. The problem with a lot of the musical acts is that there was an issue when we were in, at least up in the loge area where I was, where the music was much louder than the mics a lot of the time. And so sometimes I couldn't always understand the words. So I did not catch the words that were said that pissed off a lot of people on Twitter. At one point, there was a whole segment of the song that Leviathan changed, of the initial song, to make it a little more like up to date. But he also said the phrase, "You're so gay." Now, he is bi. Okay. Some people were upset about that, so I wanted to make a note of that. I did not hear that there, but again, I could hear about half of the words. I was just like, is this the Fortnite song? So AMP won for Best Group, and Chris Next Door, one of the guys in AMP, performed. Now, from where we were, this was another issue of could not hear a word this guy was singing, could not understand anything, okay? And then at one point, we pulled up the chat of the Twitch stream to be like, okay, maybe we can hear it better on there. And chat was just kind of cooking this guy. Another musical guest. The main thing you need to understand is that the entire time all of this is happening, Dan Clancy is playing piano. Someone is singing. All of a sudden, he takes his shirt off and he has Asmongold's face on his chest. And then some oiled up men come up, also shirtless. And did Banana Hammock still frame the term? I think so. And they start dancing and singing, and its band comes out as well. And that just, I was just like, okay, this is happening. And they said one of two musical numbers. I only saw them perform one, and I was really worried there was going to be another one. Now, I did leave, so I have no idea if there was a second one. I think we could have chopped this down a little bit more, maybe been a little bit more discerning about the musical acts. And then if you have the pre-show, you can have a musical act with the pre-show, and then that's fun for the pre-show people. Oh, it's Cutie. Jesus, say one nice thing challenge, girly. Hi, Cutie. I liked the little handprints you guys did. I didn't fully understand what it was in the upstairs area. I skipped over this. In the upstairs area outside of the little viewing area, because I talked about this last year, how in the upstairs balcony, in the area inside the like lobby space, essentially, before you go out into the actual theater, there is a viewing pit that looks down into where the actual invited guests and all of them are for photos and things like that during the show. But then they're also just kind of down there milling around the same way we are upstairs. Upstairs, they had a bunch of the nominees, I believe, all of their hands and like the cement squares. That was kind of fun. I didn't fully get it. I'm going to be honest. I was like, oh, what is this? And then I realized I was like, oh, this is Hassan's hands. And then they had that for a lot of the nominees, which I did think that was a fun little touch. The opening intro, I can't remember, QT, last year, was it you and Ray who did the opening monologue last year, or was it just you again? Because I did think you just doing it yourself for the opening monologue, I did like that. I think I preferred that. Yeah, it was both. I feel like when you're trying to balance multiple people for the opening monologue, because you're trying to figure out like what the comedic timing is with the crowd, and it's really hard to do that when you're trying to also balance off of each other and keep time with what you guys have planned and what you've rehearsed. So I think doing it with one person is probably better. Also, I think you should have gone harder with the dream joke. I think you should have gone the dream mention, funny because it was like, oh yeah, and dream. Like, who else can I call out for drama and things like that? That was a funny bit. And you just started like cursing people out on stage. That was fun. And then you just said, and dream. Okay, that should be good. Should have gone harder. I'm just saying. I think the monologue is a good segue. If anything, I would move the opening number more than anything. I get getting the crowd hyped and all of that, but I honestly think that jumping more straight into awards might be better. The actual awards, I'm trying to remember it in order. I was so fried. I was so tired. I understand having Austin do a lot of crowd work, especially when you're like trying to do changes or trying to, you know, get things set up for musical numbers and things like that. I honestly don't know how I would fix that though, because that's something that you could just kind of necessarily need for swapping things out, unless the answer is changing up how you do the swaps for the necessary, like, oh, we're trying to get set up for the next musical act or something like that, is like how we get that sorted to make it a little more tight. Because I think that would also help with runtime, because it is fun. People do like that, but it does drag on at a certain point. I almost wonder if less crowd work and maybe just having someone do like stand up on stage or off to the side somewhere else and having like a small little satellite stage set up. I believe the Streamies do this, where they previously have like a separate little side stage or like a little section. They did this with Bob the Drag Queen, I believe, in 2022, which I think worked really well, where it was just another section where all the cameras are already set up. There's already like a fancy chair, there's something there, and it's like they just kind of would bring up other people that they already like, hey, are you cool with doing this little segment or something like that? And it was kind of like a side little segment that just kind of drew the focus off the stage for a little bit without kind of putting people on the spot. And I think that that works really well. You have a little more control over the time and like how people will react and like how receptive they will be to being put on the spot and with a microphone in their face. He kept going over his time limit, LMAO, not surprising. Actually, maybe I do the ads before the musical performers and they use the ads to set up. Moving the ads as like a way to kind of work with your show, I think would be very good as well. I did like, was it Omen? The Omen setup was really good, where Austin just kind of stumbled upon you and you were like, oh, I'm just on the Omen laptop.
I'm using my Omen Transcend to keep the show moving, of course.
Wow, QT Cinderella, tell me about that.
I will.
That was a good setup. I like that one. Something the Streamer Awards do is that they show a year in review of streaming moments on stream in a 15-minute video that goes through like each month, basically, of like major moments that happened on stream each month. And even QT says before the start, like, oh, if you have to go to the bathroom, like do it now type of thing. Because it's a long video chunk. Something that I thought worked really well actually at the AVN Awards last year was they actually did for their announcements for like Performer of the Year, I believe, or like Adult Video of the Year, let's do that. They would do the nominees, because there was a good chunk of nominees, obviously, in various chunks for commercial breaks to give the hosts time to like reset and do different things. And so they kind of like basically like teased the different nominees at different chunks throughout the award show versus just playing all the super long clips during that category. And it really helped with the runtime and helped kind of keep control of like things were being produced. So I'm wondering if maybe potentially chopping that video up a little bit more. And then it's kind of like, oh yeah, there's more clips. Like, oh, now we're up at March, you know, March is like a good time to do this, and kind of doing that in chunks. I think that might be cool, because then you also could probably get more sponsors, because you could potentially sponsor each different segment. You know, like, hey, we want you to sponsor like March through July or something like that. And like, then you get this section of the award show or something like that versus just like a full section of the award show. That might help as well, because then you could also have ads in there, and then it's literally like an actual ad break with also streaming footage. So people aren't like, okay, I'm not going to watch this ad type of thing. If you kind of like break up the ads with that. There were some audio issues. I talked about already during some of the musical performances how for us, at least upstairs, it did sound like the music was louder than the vocals. But I don't know how that came across on stream. So that could have been something so that they were optimized for the stream, which is understandable. There was a moment at the start before the show started and also during part of the monologue where the chat was on screen. I loved it. Okay, so I could see where we were in Loge, that downstairs they did have chat also open for the stream for the guests that were downstairs. There was no screens upstairs. I love seeing chat during events like this. And I get it because at some points, especially during some of the musical notes, the musical performances, people were complaining obviously in chat because chat is ruthless, especially when you have that many people watching. I believe they capped out at just under 700,000 viewers at one point, which is insane. And that's a lot of people to keep track of, especially in chat. Doesn't matter how, you could have a full army of mods. Good luck. I understand it can be risky, but I love it. I'm so nosy. I want to see what people are saying. I like that at the start. I wish it was more. That was the only time really where I was like, God, I wish I was downstairs. I want to see what the chat screens are saying. I really want to see it. But also it was really fun during the opening monologue because QT shared that there was going to be a golden kappa, I believe, for anyone who subbed in the next certain amount of time for like at least 24 hours or something like that.
If you sub or prime or gift, we have a special golden kappa train happening now.
And so just to see the walls of subs and gifted subs all of a sudden on screen after she had said that, that was really kind of fun. So I don't know, it's little things like that where it's like that's a fun little bit that I think that the crowd that you have, which is a streaming crowd or a chat viewing crowd or just a chat crowd, that sounds stupid, but like the IRL Twitch chat that we all were, that really appreciates the little things like that. During the Legacy Award, there was a lot of audio issues with that video, like where it just sounded like it was skipping in and out. And I don't know if that was a connection issue, if that was connection to stream issue or just a connection to Wi-Fi issue or just the overall original media issue, just editing at some point. But they just ended up silencing the video, putting it on mute, at least for us in there. I don't know what happened on stream, and just playing music versus, I don't know, in that instance, I don't know if you cut the video or not. I know someone edited it and you want to give them the credit of that edit, but I don't know if I would keep it playing when you're having that issue at that point, especially when that's later in the night and it's taking a long time. But I always like the Legacy Award. I think Legacy Awards are very fun. I think that's very sweet. This year, there was a new award. There was the Sapphire Award, and I want to make sure I get this terminology correctly for that. The Sapphire Award, according to the Streamer Awards website, is defined as the best female marginalized gender streamer of the year. The award recognizes a streamer who, like a sapphire, is formed against the odds. In an industry where 97% of the top streamers are male, this award is dedicated to streamers who identify as female or a marginalized gender and have excelled in entertaining at the highest level this year. This is the first year that they did the Sapphire Award. Valkyrie won the Sapphire Award. And also, I do want to make this note because I thought about this more after I streamed. In the future, anyone but a man should present the Sapphire Award. For the first year of the award, you wanted something very special, and so having the CEO of Twitch, Dan Clancy, present the award is a special thing. However, again, I think when you're trying to highlight female and marginalized gendered streamers, I think that having anyone but a man, I think would have been the better choice. But I understand why, for the first year of the award, you wanted to make it very prestigious, therefore CEO Dan Clancy. I missed Gamer of the Year, which Jinxie ended up winning, and then Streamer of the Year, Kai Cenat. Kai kind of had a sweep. Did Kai win every category he was nominated in? I think he did. Streamer's Choice Award was Liam. I like the Streamer's Choice Award as well because that's one that literally no one knows, because everyone that is invited there the night of writes in a name that they want to nominate for Streamer's Choice Award. And I think that that's kind of fun versus emailing everyone before and being like, hey, tell us who you want. Because it's very much an in the moment type of award. And I think that that's very fun, especially when you have accusations of this award show being rigged. So I think that that's a very fun award to do. Something that I would change for the actual presenters going forward, it's not uncommon for award shows for presenters to have their notes, like what they're supposed to say, written by writers versus just letting them riff. And I think that would help with runtime as well. But also something that I think would be very special that I think would kind of help is people who have won previously being the presenters for the awards this year. I think that that is something that would be very special for previous winners, and another way to kind of like build up the community a bit more, like, oh yeah, you've won and now next year you get to pass the torch. I think that that's a really special thing that would be very easy to implement, and then it kind of like, I don't know, brings a little bit more or keeps the party going from previous years and kind of reminds people about previous years and adds to the legacy of the event or the cultural significance of the event long term by reminding people like, oh yeah, last year this is who won, and now they are presenting the award for like Streamer of the Year, Gamer of the Year, Sapphire Award, etc., and all of that. I really want Iron Mouse up on stage presenting an award. I'm sorry, I want to see the tablet presenting an award. I would change where you have the merch. This is a stupid little note. Okay, so basically the Streamer Awards have merch. They had a different design this year than they had last year, but the merch table is upstairs for the paid guests, okay? And it's on the very far end and past the bar, and unless you're going to that entrance for the actual theater, you don't really pass it. It's not really I get when you're leaving, you think it's intuitive. I would move it. It's one of the few spaces that I think have space up there, but I almost don't know where else I'd put it. Maybe have another one downstairs or have one set up outside afterwards. I would be interested to know how much merch you ended up selling at the award show, because I just don't think it's in a very intuitive spot for merch sales. I feel like if anyone was going to buy merch, it would be afterwards, because we're not allowed to bring in bags. If I'm going to go sit in an award show, I don't really want to sit with merch the entire time. I don't like doing that at concerts, let alone an award show where I'm wearing a gorgeous dress and I look stunning and gorgeous, you know? So I don't really want to hold a hoodie that I've been carrying with me. Maybe on your ticket there's a specialty link where it's like kind of like the Taylor Swift show or something like that, where it's like to get access to like the Streamer Awards only attendee merch, you have to click through this link or something, and then there's a special link for like anyone who actually attended if they want to buy merch, so you don't have to carry anything, but you still get access to like specialty merch. And then also that's another way to kind of make up a little bit of the back end for money wise, because I know you talked publicly about how there was a bit of issues getting some sponsors this year, so I think that that's an easy way to kind of do some back end there. Also, I'm so curious how heavy the awards are, because literally almost every single presenter commented on how heavy the awards are.
Yeah, no, this actually is really heavy. Holy sh!
5 pounds. 5 pounds? I'm trying to think if I have anything that's 5 pounds up here. That's really funny because everyone was talking about how heavy they were, and some people were like genuinely shocked. I think people thought they were hollow. That is a murder weapon in a Clue game. You could kill some of those. That is 5 pounds. I need a new venue. I need a smaller one. You want to keep it smaller? There is another theater that's way smaller. I went to a VTuber concert there. It's way smaller, but it would be one of those things where it's like literally, it would probably only be invited guests, and then like it's that small. Like it probably would be too small. The Wiltern is one of those more historic LA locations, so that's not that surprising to me that it costs so much money. I feel like moving forward, especially when you can show the streaming number, I really am curious how you're pitching to sponsors. I'm so curious. I'm sure you have someone on top of that, but like, are you getting the venue covered entirely? Because that seems like something that I would get a sponsor like, hey, listen, you can put Visa Cash App all over this building, but you're paying for the building. Like that seems like something that like we just need a solid, I don't know. I feel like lately I'm seeing this a lot with a lot of social media based events. Same with Open Sauce. They had this issue as well last year where they lost a lot of money on the first year of Open Sauce because they were having a lot of issues selling to sponsors. Where they were able to get sponsors was being able to be like, hey, can you sponsor this party? Can you sponsor this event? Can you sponsor this thing? So I think versus just like, hey, can we get sponsors, but sponsoring like individual bits and pieces and being like, this is what you will get if you sponsor us. This is where your money will go. We'll have your branding X, Y, and Z here. You'll get this shout out in the show with this segment of the show. Things like that. I feel like that's easier for brands to understand. My agency sells it, but they are a normal streamer agency. I feel like when it comes to regular agencies, because like my management, like who can get me great brand deals for YouTube, like they're still trying to figure out how to even pitch me for like potential deals for something for streaming. Or like if I were to run an event, they'd be like, we need to get you someone else to help handle that because we don't know how to pitch you for events and things like that. So I think that that's just like, sometimes you don't really understand how to sell in the space that you don't know how to sell in, if that makes sense. Because I still haven't made significant money on the show. It's the third year. So I'm like, crap. Yeah, totally understandable. If you hate the event, I still love you. Thank you. I didn't hate the event. I can't turn my brain off, cutie. That's always the problem. I go in with the goal of having fun, regardless of where I'm going. I'm going to a cult event in June. I'm gonna go have a good time, but I will be on guard that they're going to try and indoctrinate me the entire time. I was fried, and so I was a little more like, everything is annoying me. But I always go in with the goal of having fun. Everyone's question marking. Editing Amanda here. Yes, that's a blow up Formula One car. But I want to make the note that I do appreciate QT coming into chat and listening to what I had to say about the event, because most people don't do that, especially when I am critical about the event. So I do appreciate her coming in and being receptive about the event and what I had to say about it. So I do appreciate that, and I wanted to make a note of that because most people don't do that. Anyways, this was a very disjointed video. I don't know if we're gonna do this format ever again, but I thought it was fun to try out and another way for me to advertise the Twitch channel a little bit. So thank you all for checking this out. Let me know, did you watch the Streamer Awards? Were you at the Streamer Awards? Did you see me and you also thought I looked gorgeous, but you were too intimidated by my stunning beauty and my exhausted face to come and say hi? Let me know. Comment down below and say, let me know, comment down below. Reminder, I have a podcast. Reminder that I stream on Twitch. Reminder that Swell Entertainment is now available on Spotify. Shout out to my patrons. Thank you so much for supporting me on Patreon. If you also support me on Patreon, let me listen down below. Like me on social media. That'll be all up here. And that's going to be it. Have a lovely day. Goodbye. I'm going to be honest, I'm genuinely impressed that chat behaved themselves. Thank you, Oz, Eva, Ayana, Abby, Angel, Goth, Glynn, Palace, Pink, Jasmine, Lauren, Amy, Aslan, Medic, Rosie, Victor, Andrew, Tenzin, Sam, Mae West, Michael, Ryan, Adira, Nathan, Zwink, Literal, Jeffrey, Randy, QWERTY, Nomad, Thomas, Tasha, Donnie, Winter, Kenny, Robert, Cameron, Elliott.